Well, more and more jobs are available, but who will do the work? According to the most recent data from the Labor Department, their October numbers show, get this, there's about 1.5 jobs for every worker available. That's great if you're looking for a job, but it's prompting concerns about a continuing economic recovery. Joining us now to weigh in is Job Creators Network President and CEO Alfredo Ortiz. Alfredo, thanks for joining us on this New Year's Day.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon and Happy New Year's to you, Anita.
Same to you. You know, the president says the economy is fantastic. Take a look at this tweet from just a couple of days ago. I believe this is from the 29th. He says, we're ending 2021 with what one analyst described as the strongest first-year economic track record of any president in the last 50 years. Let's keep the progress going. Now, he's saying that, but according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, I want to put up some numbers here. Inflation is at a 39-year high. Look at that. Food costs up 6%, energy costs up 33%, and gas up 58%. I'm certainly not an economist, but common sense tells me inflation is affecting the economy and the overall job market. What are you seeing?
Anita, you don't have to be an economist to figure this one out. It is not at all what President Biden said in his tweet about being one of the strongest economic records, in the past 50 years. And look, the American public isn't buying this malarkey, as he calls it. A recent Gallup poll, in fact, found that 2/3 of Americans say that the economy is actually getting worse, and over 80% rate the economy as poor or fair. So, look, basically President Biden is ending 2021 basically the same way he started 2021, lying to the American public about the economic record. And again, the American public is just not buying it anymore.
Yeah, he does like to use that word malarkey. You're right. How much are the vaccine mandates affecting certain industries? We still see the supply chain struggling, not enough workers to keep the normal pace. How long will that take to correct itself?
Yeah, this is a real concern, and it's been a concern the entire year of 2021 for small business owners in particular. And remember, Anita, 2/3 of new job growth is in the hands of small businesses. And so when these small business owners start getting worried about the economic future, not only of the economy, but of their own businesses, they're going to start pulling back. And to your point, President Biden has claimed that he has created these 6 million plus jobs. He didn't create these. These are just jobs that basically were put on hold because of COVID, and people are coming back to work. We are still 4 million jobs below the pre-pandemic levels. So there's no cheering here that should be coming from the White House. We have a lot of work to do. And frankly, the policies that he's putting in place, which is driving inflation through the roof, we're almost at 7% on a consumer price index, which basically is what consumers pay for their goods and services, record levels. And the producer price index, which is what producers pay for their inputs, is almost at 10%. And remember, that's a precursor to the consumer price index. So next month, I am really concerned. We're going to be looking at numbers that are probably 7 to 8% on the consumer price index.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we hear all the time, and you know better than anyone, that small businesses are the backbone, the economic backbone of the country. So it certainly seems like it is an employees market right now with lots of job openings. But how hard are employers having to work, and how much more are they having to pay to get the workers in the door and then keep them there? People were very used to getting those government checks during the last 2 years of the pandemic.
Yeah, a real concern is something called the labor force participation rate, Anita. When you look at 25 to 54-year-olds, it is almost at record level lows. And that's a real concern because that's, where most of our workforce comes from. And so people are just not coming back to the workforce. And a lot of it really was driven by basically a cultural shift, driven by, the Democrats and the Biden plans, and basically overstimulating the economy. And frankly, people, again, just don't want to go back to work. They're living off of their savings. If you look at savings rates pre-pandemic, it was about 8%. Right now, they're about 20, in the high 20s to low 30s. People basically saved up so they didn't have to work. And employers are really finding a hard time. Again, small business owners in particular, especially in the hospitality industry, are finding it almost impossible to get workers back. And in many cases, this is impacting the amount of hours they can open, the number of stores they can open, and it's really hurting the industry overall.
Yeah, hospitality for certain. You can really feel that when you go to restaurants and hotels. What would be one thing the Biden administration could do in the new year to help employers and businesses across the country?
Well, one of the things is we really need to encourage people to get back to work. We got to make it not basically economically, viable for people to basically just stay at home and work. We got to make sure that the policies that are put in place really come back and are really focused on driving inflation down, which is a major issue for our small business owners. We got to make sure that things like the Build Back Better Act don't pass, because in there, you talk about raising taxes, increasing regulations, and that's the last thing that our employers across the country, especially small business owners, need. And so what we need to do is make sure that things like that Build Better Act do not pass, and we got to make sure that we stand up, and that small business owners in particular stand up, because they know what's working, what's not working.
Alfredo Ortiz, we have to leave it there, but thank you so much for your insights today, and Happy New Year to
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you, you too.